Welcome back. This is day 2. So day 1, that was a lot, hey? Writing down all of those fears and insecurities and worries and everything that you don't want to happen in your birth. I really hope you did take my suggestion to go and have a nice hot bath or take a nice walk in nature just to decompress, because today is going to be so much easier for you to be able to do this exercise if you took that time to relax and you're feeling fresh and happy and you're not stuck in that fear. Because the more that you're stuck in that fear and doubt, the harder it is for you to start to see what's actually possible. Now, why did I ask you to do that instead of going through the typical route of going and grabbing a whole bunch of information first, rather than focusing mostly on what you don't like? Well, here's the thing about information, is that there's so much of it and it can all lead you on different paths. And you don't know how to sort through it because you don't have your roadmap yet. But you're creating your roadmap by going through this workshop. So the reason you're going through this, as I said, is because you need to create your birth plan first. Then you use that to figure out where to find the right education for you, where to find the right environment to birth in, where you need to look for care providers to support you, and also who you need to have around you for support, what else you might need. And what you're going to be doing today is actually creating that roadmap, the first part of it. Okay? So here's the thing, though, is that a lot of moms, they're using those templates and those checklists. And then how they're writing it is no episiotomy, no IV, no vaginal exams except for one on admission. Like, they just say no, 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 no. Don't do this unless I ask. Don't do this unless I ask for it. And over and over and over again, it's just a bunch of no's. I'm going to tell you right now that you might think that writing out that list of all the things that you don't want is your birth plan. It's not. Okay? That is not what you're going to be putting into that template. So I really, really hope you didn't try to go ahead and do that thinking that you knew how this roadmap goes, because it's completely different from anything else you've ever been taught for writing birth plans. No, you are not going to write no episiotomy if that's what's on your list of things you don't want in your birth plan. You're also not going to write things like no IV or no vaginal exams. You are not going to write those things. Okay? You're not going to write those. Not yet. What you are going to do instead is what I'm going to teach you. First, I'm going to tell you how it's done, what works, and then I'm going to tell you your exercise. Okay? This is exactly what you need to understand about this, is that our brains do not hear the word no. All our brains are focusing on is the words we're saying. So when you say no episiotomy, and you're thinking, I really hope I don't get an episiotomy. I really hope I don't get a C-section. I really hope I don't get an induction. You know what that's doing in your subconscious? It's actually creating that situation to happen. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's true. I didn't believe it for a very long time. I didn't think that that was what was going on. But the more you focus on something, the more you actually bring it into your life. The more that your subconscious makes you think those things, more in fear you are, instead of thinking from a place of power and knowing where you're going, the more likely you're going to fall into these natural birth traps. The more likely you're going to get a C-section. The more likely you're going to get pushed into induction. The more you're going to have to fight, beg, compromise, give up. You give in, you crumble under the pressure, you leave your dignity at the door, you walk away with trauma. You're wondering what the hell happened. I was doing all the right things. I was taking the classes. I was reading the books. I hired a midwife. I hired a doula. I went to a hospital that they said they had a low C-section rate, and I ended up still getting a medicalized birth. They didn't give me the birth I wanted. What happened? Well, first of all, the thing that happened is that you put your power in the wrong spot. You put your power in the words no. And you thought by giving the list of no that your care provider was just going to follow that. They're not. Because what that does to them, first of all, how do you like hearing the word no? If somebody gives you a long list, if you have a profession where you happen to be an expert in that profession, you know your stuff, and you want a client who is going to tell you exactly what services that they would like from you, because you can absolutely deliver. Say maybe you're a party planner, or say maybe you're an interior designer, and you happen to make the most beautiful homes for people, or you plan the most amazing parties. And all you want is for them to tell you exactly what their dream is. But they're saying, I don't want this. 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 No, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't like that. I don't particularly like that. What is your question that you're likely thinking in your head? I'm pretty sure it's something like this. Okay, you're telling me a lot of what you don't want, but I still have no idea how to create this amazing home for you or decorate it the way you want. I can't design it. I can't plan this party because all you're doing is telling me what you don't want. You're just telling me a whole list of things that you don't want. You're not telling me what you do want. So maybe there's some things on that list that they're actually looking through some of the things that you've given them a book of what you've already done in the past. So you give them a book of your party planning or your interior design work. You're showing them your portfolio, and you're quite pleased with your portfolio. The clients didn't complain. They got exactly what they wanted because they came in knowing what they wanted. Or maybe you have a specific package that you offer that seems to be really popular with your clients. A lot of your clients like that. But this person's coming in and they're like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that either. I don't want that. And you're like, okay, so why are you hiring me? Because this is my dharma. This is what I'm able to do the most. Like, this is where I shine. But you're telling me you don't want me to do any of my skills that I'm good at. So what exactly are you hiring me for? And now you're getting really frustrated with this person. You probably would like to get rid of them. However, they're also paying you a lot of money. Or maybe this client is someone you have to take on because you happen to be working in another place. Like, this is not your own business. This is somebody else's firm. And you're taking on this client for them. So you can't fire this person. You'd like to. You'd really like to. Like, this person is a drag to work with because all they're doing is telling you what you don't want, what they don't want, what they don't like. And you're sitting there and it's like, I don't know how to work with this person. Well, guess what? This is what you're doing to your care provider when you come in with your list of I don't want, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want. And they say, well, this is hospital policy. This is what we prefer to do. Like, this is what I've done all my life. This is what I've practiced. I know more in this area. I'm the expert. But you know what? You're actually the expert in your birth. And this is why what you're going to want to do is you're not going to want to come in with that list of no's. The no's don't work. That is the biggest mistake I see on all these birth plans, is that it's just a long list of no's. There might be one or two things on there where they're like, I'd like this unless medically necessary. I'd like this if possible. So they're saying, I'd like this if possible, but I mean, if I can't have it, I understand. And they're giving up. And then they have that long list of no's and like, I really hope that I don't have any of this stuff, but I know that like they're probably going to push this on me. And I'm now, how do I get the information to show them why I don't need to have this? You're fighting, you're begging, you're compromising, you're trying to make somebody do something, but you don't have your clear roadmap. So how do you get it? By following step 2 of the Write Your Empowered Birth Plan process. And this will allow you to also get the blank birth plan template that Jenny created for her own empowered birth experience. All the nurse did was she looked down at what Jenny wanted. And she completely ignored the stuff about what she'd have to have a discussion with Jenny about. And she completely ignored everything that Jenny did not want. Because your care provider really just wants to know what you want. And they're not going to follow all those bunches of no's if you put them at the very end of your template. So she had, for her birth and labor, she had for her baby, and she had for afterwards. And then she also had her backup plan in case of a C-section. It was a very, very simple document. You can print it off on your computer, you can fill it out, and then like you'll be able to have your template. You'll know exactly how to do this. But the Natural Birth Blueprint Masterclass will also teach you the things that you want to avoid when planning a natural birth. It's going to tell you why birth doesn't work. I'm going to go deep. There was not enough time to do it during this actual challenge. So that's why we have this extra bonus class. When you signed up for the workshop, you also got a ticket to this Natural Birth Blueprint Masterclass. It's going to be live. It's going to be through Zoom. I will have a replay. However, if you come live, you'll be able to also ask your questions and get more help. And you can bring your completed birth plan to me and we can look it over. If you have it on your computer, that's even better because we can even share screen. We can look over it together as a group and we can workshop it. Okay? So now you're probably wondering, how exactly do you get the birth you want? How do you get your dream birth using this whole list that you've written down of all the things you don't want? I'm glad you asked because this is the magic. Okay? We're going to take every single one of those fears, every single one of those worries, every single thing you don't want. And we're going to ask ourselves the question. You're going to ask your question to yourself. If it's not this, what is it I actually want instead of that? So here's some examples. No induction. Okay. I would like to go into labor on my own. Simple, right? No episiotomy. I would like to follow my body in pushing. And if I start to tear, I'd prefer a natural tear rather than a cut. And, you know, if there's some aspect where you're like, you know, if it's going to be like a urethral tear or a clitoral tear, I'd rather have the episiotomy to save me. But like you can put that in your discussion part later. So you can also say, unless it's a clitoral tear or a like a upper high tear that could affect my urethra or my labia, in which case I'd prefer the episiotomy. Like that's a different story. However, here's the thing about physiological birth. If you are not highly medicated, it is very unlikely that you're going to have one of those really, really, really bad tears. Now, they could still happen. However, it's not going to be as bad as a cut because a cut is cutting into muscle and it's not following the natural process of where your body needs to tear. And more damage is done that way. And also, I'm just going to tell you the clitoris is not just a tiny little bud. It's actually like a whole structure that goes all the way around your vagina. So if they cut in a certain spot, they could actually cut one of the nerves for your clitoris. So I'm just going to tell you, you really, really want to do your homework when it comes to whether an episiotomy is right for you or not. That's another reason why we don't go into the mom groups and ask, well, how do I avoid an episiotomy? Because there's still going to be moms out there, especially moms from the 90s or like older moms who were taught or their mothers had episiotomies and they have been led through their childbirth education to believe that a cut is better than a tear. So you're going to get a whole bunch of that mainstream information, which is a natural birth trap in itself. All right. So that's two examples. Another one, of course, is I don't want a vacuum delivery. Okay, well, what do you want instead? If your baby is truly, truly stuck, what would you like to do first? If you would like to try to change positions first, rather than go straight to a C-section, say that. You need to get as granular as humanly possible. Again, this is not the plan that you're going to give to your care provider. That comes later. This is for you. So you can get as detailed as you want for each one of those points that we mentioned before, that all the stuff you don't want, you get as detailed as you want in everything that you want in your birth. You create your ideal birth plan using this. So you take I don't wants, make it ideal, make it what you would like to have happen in the most ideal scenario where everything works the way you want it to. We are not even going to think about how it's going to work. We are not even going to think about what options are in our area. We are not even going to think about if we're high risk. We are not even going to think about if we've already had previous trauma, or this is our first baby, or that everybody in our family before us had C-sections and what makes us think we can do it, or we're the only one who's trying a home birth. We're not thinking about that. Okay. You're not going to think about that. You're going to think, what do you want instead? Your ideal scenario. Okay. This is again why I said you need to have your notebook and your pen, and you're going to keep coming back to this exercise. If you would like a little bit more help with this, you can also go and check out some of the other videos on my YouTube channel or on my social media. I share a lot of birth stories. There's a lot of positive birth stories out there. There's also some other things that I can share. So if there's something that you're like, I just don't know if this is possible. Could I have this? You have that question. Send me a message, carly@empoweringmomsbirth.com. And that way, you're going to be able to get more feedback, because I can tell you right now, if you're thinking it, if you're dreaming about it, it's possible, because you got that vision for a reason. It's yours. It's your dream. You can create your dream into reality using the system. Okay. And then tomorrow, I'm going to show you something else that you're going to want to do, and how to word your birth plan, how to fill out that template. So you're going to have it. And then on days 4 and 5, I'm going to give you some examples of how to create the birth plan, things that have worked for other clients of mine, things that worked for myself. I'll share that. And then remember, I also have the Natural Birth Blueprint Masterclass that you can attend live. So make sure you're signed up for that too. All right. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.